Hello and welcome to Beyond the Starting Line, where I am sharing my health journey. I am Layla, I am 42 years old, and I have been dieting my whole adult life, and I think I have finally figured out what's working for me. Currently, I'm doing a modified carnivore diet. In previous videos, I kind of explained that, where I am doing a lower fat carnivore diet because of the possibility of lipotoxicity in my body, and it is working for me. Last week I did have to modify my diet again because I was having issues with being hungry more often and having a hard time acclimating to this new way of eating. And so what I did is increase my protein to 150 to 180 grams per day. Also, I did increase my fat intake up to 80 grams, staying between 60 and 80, whereas before I was staying below 60. Also, I did not do a maintenance calorie day. I actually really didn't have to, because I upped the protein, which allowed me to feel fuller longer. Okay, so how did this week go doing that? Well, I was fuller longer, which was amazing. I did lose 2 pounds. I was hoping for more, honestly, but let's take the win. 2 pounds is an amazing loss. Whereas before I would barely lose half a pound, I'm losing 2 pounds a week. So that is very, very good. Let's talk about what worked and what did not work this week. Okay. Well, this week was it's a rough week. You guys are watching this in the new year, and I'm still in the 2025 era, and as you could tell, everything is orange. It is because Thanksgiving's next week, and this time 2 years ago, I lost somebody very close to me. It's 2 years last month, and then a few months later I lost a parent. Literally less than 6 months later I lost a parent. And so finding that the holiday season is still really rough. This is technically going to be the second Thanksgiving without them. It doesn't make it any easier. Yes, time has gone by, but their loss also helped open the wound to a previous loss. And so I miss my family quite a bit, and it left this week hard. And so this brings us to grief. I actually was kind of hoping that we would talk about insulin resistance, but that's next week's problem. So they will talk about doing this with grief. Now, I have been doing carnivore for over a year, and I started carnivore because of how depressed and sad and sick I was feeling at the time, and that was shortly after I lost my parent. And now I'm a year and a half after that loss, and I am down, and I'm managing, and I learned how to manage, and the depression and anxiety that come from that is still here. It didn't take it away, because it's not going to take that kind of depression and anxiety away. It does help, though. I did learn some tools to get through it, and so one of the tools that I learned that I didn't realize I was doing was not allowing myself to feel when I was feeling. I have, as you just saw, I will start tearing up, and then I will cut it out real quick because I have kids to raise and I don't want to scare them, or because I'm busy and I don't want to deal with it right now. And I learned to bury my feelings quite hard, and then that bottles up and bottles up until your body doesn't know what to do anymore. And mine freaked out. It freaked out bad. I had hyperventilating. I thought I was having a heart attack, and I went to the hospital, and they told me it was fine, just having anxiety, and sent me home. But I also didn't realize it was spinning my asthma out of control, which made everything worse. So I've gotten that under control, thank God, but it still comes around, and we still have to deal with it. And before, I would have eaten my feelings. I would have found the comfort food, And I would have eaten all of the feelings, and I would have felt real bad afterwards. And so instead of doing that this week, I recognized I was feeling low, which is one of the main things to do, is first recognize I don't feel myself. I feel very down, or not even necessarily sad, just, I called it bummy. I feel like bummy. I just don't feel myself. There's no reason for me to be sad, but I feel down, and there's just no reason. And so calling it out is the first healing. And then for my case, it is feeling it, walking into a space that I'm safe in, that I feel emotionally safe, closing the door and taking 20, 30 minutes, whatever time I need to feel it. In the beginning, it would take a long time because I needed to feel that a lot. And now 20, 30 minutes really helped. And I had to do it 2 or 3 times this week, which is fine, not a big deal. And I was able to stick to the plan and not go outside of the plan. I am still trying to figure out how to manage without using food. It is the holiday season, and I feel like my sweet tooth understands that because it's coming in heavy, and I'm not allowing anything sweet to come into my mouth because it will trigger my need to eat more sugar. And so that's my plan with that. I also, because I allowed myself to feel, like I said, and go through that feeling and talk to my husband and my mom, I was then able to just stick with the plan and move on. I did discover this week, though, I've been really tired because our schedule has changed and my husband is traveling a lot more, which puts all on me way more than typical. And so when I'm tired, I want to eat a lot. And so that was really hard for me to get through this week, and I am trying to figure out still what's going to work. I don't know how that's going to work for me. My results this week were 2 pounds down. So I started this journey at 223 pounds. I am now down to 184. The plan for next week, next week is Thanksgiving, guys, on Thursday. So the plan is to do my best, stick to my calories and my protein and fat intake to make sure that I'm hitting those numbers as best as possible. I did notice with increasing my protein and my fat that instead of hitting just below 1,200 calories, I'm sitting between 1,200 and 1,400, which was recommended in the beginning to do anyways. So my plan is to stick to the way it worked last week, because I have a lot of more stress coming this week to get ready. We have people coming out of town that I haven't seen in a couple years, and 2 different family dinners I am hosting, which is a very good tool if you are struggling with that, is to host the dinners or meals if you can. And so that way you can kind of have more control over what is being made. We still do it kind of a potluck style, so anybody who can brings what they can. We harvested our turkeys last night, and so I know the meat is super fresh, and it came from my garden versus the grocery store, which you don't know where it came from. So I know that they're at the healthiest state, so I will be putting the healthiest turkey in my body. Again, I probably won't be eating a whole lot of turkey. It is not my favorite. And so when I am preparing for these meals, I will kind of have my own small meals ahead of time. So I eat 2 times a day. I eat between an 8-hour window. I fast for 16 and I eat for 8 hours. I will continue to do that this week, with the difference of like Thursday, I will get up early and start making meals. I will then buy 11, 12 o'clock is when my family will be here for food, and I will have my first meal. That might be my only meal. It really depends on how I go with that. I will not necessarily stick to only eating the lower fat meal or proteins, because we will have ham there, which has some sugar in it. So I might have a taste of that. I don't know. We'll see. I will try really hard to stay in my plan up to Thursday, and then allow Thursday not to put too much feeling on that. Let it come organically without trying too hard to stay within my parameters. And that's as good as we're going to get. And then Friday is going to be another day of eating. It'll be later in the day, so I can sleep in. And then same idea with that. The first Thanksgiving is usually the one that I go, okay, I don't need to have another one, so it's easier to manage for me the second Thanksgiving. But it was requested by my kids to make pumpkin pie and apple pie and cookies, and they have to eat a gluten-free keto kind of way. I still will not be participating, because even if it is a not real sugar, I still have a reaction. I can't control myself, so we won't be eating the sweets that I do make for them. I hope to see at the end of the week another 2-pound loss, but I will take a stay the same without giving myself too much of a hard time. I don't want to do. Also, next week will be the end of November, beginning of December, so I will do a little bit more in-depth measurements that I am doing, and we will talk about the entire month as a whole. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I hope that this is helping you to start asking why things aren't working for you if it's not, or encouraging you to try stuff and ask your body what it needs, versus just going off of a diet that somebody says do this. Really always ask yourself why, and always ask, is this right for me? In the next videos, we'll discuss what that looks like for myself, because that's all I can go off of, and how I do with that. How do I know when things are working and when things are not working? So I will see you again next week.